Hi, welcome to the Lifestyle Herbalist, the podcast where holistic wellness meets everyday living. I'm your host, Dabney Vaccaro. I'm a registered dental hygienist, a clinical herbalist, and a certified health coach.
And I'm your co-host, Sabrina Cooper, a registered dental hygienist with a bachelor's in oral health promotion, a certified culinary nutritionist and herbalist, and a mindfulness and mindful eating coach. Together, we explore the intersection of holistic health, herbal wisdom, and joyful living. From plant-powered remedies to kitchen medicine, mindful moments, and conversations that feed the soul, we're here to help you feel vibrant, grounded, and inspired in your daily life. So steep a cup of something soothing, settle in, and let's grow well together one episode at a time, bringing you a healthy dose of happiness.
Hi, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Dabney, and today I wanted to talk to you about something that has come to my attention recently. Mainly two people in particular over the last couple of weeks have asked me particularly about parasites, colon cleanses, etc. And honestly, I think this topic says a lot about where people are right now in the wellness world. There's a growing feeling that something is off in the body. I think people are tired, they're feeling bloated, inflamed, even anxious, or maybe dealing with skin issues, digestive problems, certainly gum inflammation, brain fog. And I think they're just looking for answers. Then they open social media and immediately get told, you probably have parasites. Suddenly, every symptom becomes parasites. Everyone is posting dramatic cleanse stories. People are ordering herbal protocols like at 2 a.m., convinced that something is living inside them and it's causing them all of their troubles. And while parasites are absolutely real and can be a legitimate issue for some people, I think what often gets missed is the bigger picture of terrain, resilience, digestion, and depletion. As an herbalist and someone who works in oral health, I tend to look at the body a little differently. I'm less interested in fear-based wellness trends and more interested in asking why the body became vulnerable in the first place. Because most people I see are not just dealing with one isolated issue. Their symptoms are connected. They may have bloating, chronic fatigue, sugar cravings, inflamed gums, poor sleep, constipation, anxiety, or recurring illnesses that are all happening at the same time. And what I often see underneath is that the body is just stressed. It's mineral depleted, inflamed, and struggling to maintain balance. The wellness industry has convinced people that the answer is just to kill something or aggressively detox something, but many people don't need a war going on inside their body. They need nourishment, drainage support, better digestion, nervous system regulation, and a healthier terrain overall. Now, that doesn't mean that parasites never exist. Of course they do. Certain parasites are more common with travel, contaminated water, undercooked foods, poor sanitation, immune compromise, or specific environmental exposures. There are legitimate symptoms that can point people toward a parasitic infection. And these things are like persistent diarrhea, unexplained weight loss, nighttime anal itching, significant nutrient deficiencies, or ongoing gastrointestinal distress after travel. But bloating alone does not automatically mean parasites. Neither does fatigue. Neither does sugar cravings. Honestly, sometimes it means someone is surviving on coffee, stress hormones, and 5 hours of sleep while barely chewing their food. And I say that lovingly. I want to take a moment in our podcast today to thank one of our sponsors, Survival Garden Seeds. And this next piece might feel a little different, but it's something I've become very passionate about, especially as I've gotten deeper into understanding health at a foundational level. And that's where our food comes from. Because we can talk about supplements and protocols all day, but if the foundation, our food, is lacking in nutrients, it's going to be really hard to fully support the body. And beyond that, there's also something to be said about the connection to your food and the sense of preparedness. What would happen if you couldn't run to the grocery store and get what you needed? It's not about fear, but really about empowerment. That's why I started learning more about how to grow my own food, even in a small, manageable way. and I've been using survival garden seeds. They offer seed kits that are designed for long-term storage, and they make it really approachable, even if you've never even gardened before. And here's what I love most about this. It shifts you from being completely dependent to just being a little more self-sufficient. Even if you start small, even if it's just herbs and a few vegetables, it's the connection that matters. The nutrient density matters, and honestly, it feels very grounding. If this is something you've been considering, use the link in the show notes and save 10% off your first order. You don't have to do everything, but starting somewhere can really make a big difference. Let's talk about something that I think is massively underestimated when it comes to inflammation, and that's the fats we use every single day. Because I see this all the time. Someone's doing all the right things, they're eating clean, they're taking supplements, they're still dealing with inflammation though. And sometimes it comes down to the smallest inputs. One of the first places I look is cooking oils. A lot of commonly used oils are highly processed, unstable at high heat, and can actually contribute to inflammation in the body, which, as we know, can show up in the gums, the gut, and even beyond. So one of the simplest shifts I have made is switching to a more traditional stable fat, specifically ghee. And I wanted to highlight this because not all ghee is created equal. I personally use great ghee because it checks all the boxes that actually matter. It's organic, non-GMO, and it's made locally here in Virginia, which I love supporting. But beyond that, there's a real science behind why this matters. Ghee is rich in fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, and it contains compounds like butyrate that specifically helps support the gut and helps regulate inflammation. And because the milk solids are removed, a lot of people who are sensitive to dairy actually tolerate it very well. So this isn't just about swapping an ingredient, it's about choosing something that actually supports the body on a deeper level. And the best part? It's an easy change. You're already cooking. This just upgrades what you're cooking with. If you're working on inflammation, oral health, or even just wanting to feel better overall, this is one of those foundational shifts that can actually make a real difference. I'll link the one I like to use, Great Ghee, in the show notes. And if you'd like to try it yourself, use the code DABNEVACARO at checkout and get 10% off. It's simple, intentional changes like this that really do add up over time. Now, let's get back to the show. One thing I think social media has really normalized is extreme cleansing. People are doing harsh herbal cleanses, colon cleanses, detox teas, laxative-heavy protocols over and over again, believing that if they feel terrible during the cleanse, it must be working. But from my perspective, there's a difference between supporting the body and punishing it. The colon is not supposed to be a constant state of emergency. Over-cleansing can irritate the gut lining, disrupt the microbiome, and deplete minerals even further. And minerals matter for everything, especially energy production, nervous system regulation, hormone balance, digestion, and immune function, oral health even, and the body's ability to respond appropriately to these microbes. You can't aggressively deplete a body and expect it to become resilient. And this is where oral health enters the conversation in a really important way. The mouth is not separate from the rest of the body. It's the beginning of the digestive tract, and we swallow oral bacteria constantly throughout the day. If someone has chronic gum inflammation, poor oral hygiene, dry mouth, oral dysbiosis, or a disrupted oral microbiome from years of harsh antiseptic mouth rinses, that impacts the gut too. Sometimes people become hyper-focused on parasites while ignoring bleeding gums, chronic inflammation in the mouth, poor digestion, or even unresolved stress. The body is an ecosystem. Everything communicates with everything else. As an herbalist, I think the conversation around parasites and cleansing needs more nuance. I'm not against herbs that help create an environment less hospitable to pathogens. Herbs can absolutely be supportive, but I think there's a healthier way to approach this less than a scorched earth mentality. It has become a popular online thing. Instead of trying to alienate the body's ecosystem, I prefer supporting the body's ability to regulate itself. Bitter herbs can help stimulate digestion and bile flow, which naturally supports healthy microbial balance in the gut. Herbs like gentian, dandelion root, artichoke can encourage digestive secretion so food is broken down more effectively instead of sitting and fermenting. Digestive stagnation itself can contribute to imbalance. There are also herbs traditionally used for microbial support that people may choose to incorporate thoughtfully and temporarily if appropriate. Things like black walnut hull, clove, wormwood, thyme, oregano, and garlic have long histories of traditional use. But stronger herbs are not necessarily better. And more is definitely not always more. I think people underestimate how intense some of these herbal protocols can be, especially if someone is already depleted or has a sensitive nervous system. I'm personally much more interested in combining gentle antimicrobial support with rebuilding strategies. Because if you only focus on eliminating without rebuilding, people often end up weaker afterwards. That rebuilding piece matters so much. Supporting minerals through nourishing herbs like nettle or oat straw, prioritizing protein, improving hydration, supporting bowels regularly, and calming the nervous system can sometimes move the needle more than another aggressive cleanse. Demulcent herbs like marshmallow root or slippery elm may help soothe irritated tissues. Bitters can help wake up digestion, and simple practices like chewing your food thoroughly, eating in a calmer state, and supporting oral health can profoundly affect digestion and microbial balance over time. These things are not flashy, but they matter. I also think we need to talk about fear for a minute, because fear has become a business model in wellness. If someone online is telling you that everyone has parasites, everyone needs constant cleansing, and every symptom is toxins leaving your body, it's okay to pause and question that. Fear keeps people stuck in cycles of hypervigilance and constant detoxing. The goal should not be to be obsessed with every symptom or terrified of your own body. The goal is resilience. A resilient body can encounter microbes, stressors, environmental exposures, and still remain balanced more effectively. And honestly, sometimes what people call parasite cleanse is really the first time they've slowed down enough to support their digestion. Hydrate properly, eat more whole foods, reduce processed foods, or even use some herbs on a consistent basis. Of course, they feel better. That doesn't necessarily mean they expelled a lifetime of parasites. It may simply mean that they're finally got some support that it's been needing. So if you're someone listening to this and wondering whether you need a cleanse, I would encourage you to shift to the question just a little bit. Instead of asking, what do I need to kill? Maybe ask, what does my body need in order to function better? Does your digestion need support? Are you eating in a less stressed state? Are you chronically constipated? Are your gums inflamed? Are you depleted? Are you sleeping poorly? Are you constantly running on adrenaline? Those questions often lead somewhere much more productive. I'm not anti-cleanse. I'm definitely not anti-herbs. I love herbs. I use herbs constantly in my own life and in my practice. But I think herbs work best when used in a partnership with the body rather than in a battle against it. Supporting the terrain, improving resilience, nourishing deficiencies, and respecting the microbiome usually creates more lasting change than aggressive protocols driven by fear. And in a wellness culture that constantly tells people they're toxic, infected, inflamed, or broken. And I think that's an important conversation to have. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope this episode helped bring a little more clarity and a little less fear to the conversation around parasites, cleansing, and gut health. If you're looking for more personalized support and want to better understand your own symptoms, oral health, digestion, mineral status, or overall wellness terrain, I'd love to work with you. You can find more information about consultations, testing, and resources in the links below. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who could use a more grounded approach to wellness. I'll see you in the next episode.